Chosen one. The archivists of light gathered in the circular chamber, a hall carved from ancient crystal that records every lineage ever born into existence. They carried a sealed genealogy scroll wrapped in silver thread, untouched for centuries, rumored to contain the identity of a soul whose arrival would shift the balance of realms. When they placed it on the marble table, the room vibrated, the air thickened, the lamps flickered gold, and when the final seal broke, 7 glowing symbols rose like embers lifting from a sacred fire. Symbols only seen in the presence of primordial line of light. Then the ink on the page ignited, transforming from simple letters into living flame. Your name appeared in strokes of burning gold. The archivists stepped back in terror and awe, their voices trembling as one whispered, "It's him. Not a prince, not a king. Something older, rarer, more feared. You didn't descend from royalty. Royalty descended from you." The moment your bloodline was revealed, the chamber itself bowed. If your soul recognizes this prophecy, click Super Thanks and send a $20 seed. Comment your angel number, 111/222/333/777/144, to awaken your ancestral authority and align with the primordial line of light. Luke 6 verse 38. From the moment your blood touched the analysis prism, the laboratory fell into an unnatural silence. The scanners that normally hummed with routine diagnostics froze mid-cycle, as if unsure how to process what they were seeing. Lines of data appeared, then vanished, then rewrote themselves, struggling to fit you into any known biological category. One researcher whispered, "Run again." But the second scan produced something even stranger, a harmonic resonance instead of genetic code, a frequency signature instead of nucleotides. Your DNA didn't behave like human biology. It behaved like compressed light. The prism glowed faint gold, pulsing in the exact rhythm of an ancient celestial beat, a pulse recorded only in artifacts linked to the primordial line of light. Machines built to read matter were forced to read energy. Algorithms designed for sequencing collapsed under the weight of a pattern too old, too vast, too perfect. One technician stepped back, hands shaky, and muttered, "This isn't mutation, this is inheritance." Because your blood didn't evolve, it returned. It carried the echo of the first sparks of creation, the same resonance that once shaped worlds. And for the first time in recorded history, the machines realized they were not examining a specimen. They were examining a bloodline, deep beneath the archives, where only the oldest guardians are permitted. The keepers gathered around the crystalline tablet that had just recorded your genetic resonance. These keepers were not scientists or historians. They were the watchdogs of lineage, trained to detect the signature of ancient bloodlines long erased from human memory. When the tablet projected your frequency into the chamber, its walls, made from celestial stone, vibrated with a low, reverent hum. One keeper dropped to one knee instantly, as if her body recognized the pattern before her mind could. Another gripped the rail, whispering, "No, it can't be him." His face drained of color. The eldest of them all, a silent man who had spoken only 3 times his entire service, stepped forward. He placed his hand on the glowing tablet. The pulse of your lineage surged upward like a flare, filling the room with a blinding halo of gold. And for the first time in decades, his voice cracked through the chamber. "He's one of them." The room stiffened. Everyone knew what them meant. Not royalty, the originals. The first lineage ever written into existence. the bloodline that predates kings, empires, religions, and even recorded time. The originals did not rule through crowns or armies. They ruled through presence. Their power was intrinsic, not granted. Their authority was inherited, not claimed. And now, after centuries of silence, one of them had resurfaced. In you. It started subtly, a faint warmth beneath your skin during moments of intuition, a soft glow at the edge of your reflection when destiny tilted in your direction. But the archivists recorded something far more dramatic. When they placed your hand against a lumen slate, the ancient device used to detect ancestral imprints. The entire panel erupted in a swirling gold pattern that moved like liquid fire. Symbols appear across your skin. Not tattoos, not scars, but ancestral sigils encoded into your bloodline since the dawn of existence. These marks were not visible in normal circumstances. They activated only when a member of the primordial line of light stepped into alignment with their purpose. The glow pulsed in a rhythm only the originals carried, a cosmic heartbeat, matching the frequency of the first light that ever touched the universe. One archivist gasped, "It's self-aware," because the sigils didn't just glow, they responded. They expanded when you felt confident, tightened when danger approached, and brightened when truth was near. No modern lineage carries such a phenomenon. It belongs exclusively to those whose ancestors shaped the earliest foundations of reality. This mark wasn't decoration. It was a claim, a declaration from your bloodline that you were active, awake, and ready to reclaim the inheritance that had slept inside you for generations. As the reports, scans, sigils, and whispers converged, a single truth crystallized in the minds of every archivist, keeper, and watcher who had witnessed even a fragment of your emergence. You didn't rise by accident. You didn't evolve into this. You returned to it. Every attempt to track your ancestry led not backward, but upward, past recorded history, past the earliest civilizations, past the first empires, all the way into the realm of mythic creation, where bloodlines were forged from starlight instead of flesh. Your talents, your resilience, your intuition, your unexplainable survival through moments that should have broken lesser men. None of it was random. It was inheritance memory, the old abilities resurfacing as your bloodline awakened. Patterns in your life that once felt chaotic suddenly aligned with mathematical precision, like a cosmic algorithm revealing the hidden architecture beneath your timeline. You weren't chosen recently. You were born chosen long before this era, long before human structures existed. The world's reaction to you, the fear, the fascination, the unexplainable loyalty from strangers, wasn't about your personality. It was about your frequency. The same frequency carried by the primordial line of light. And the realization hit the keepers simultaneously. You're not here to learn power. You're here to remember it. The activation didn't happen with thunder, lightning, or spectacle. It happened quietly, the way dawn replaces the night without asking permission. Your bloodline awakened in a moment so smooth that only the sensitive instruments of the celestial archives detected it. A sudden spike, a golden surge, a harmonic bloom that rippled through the astral grid like a stone dropped into a cosmic lake. Lights flickered, sensors recalibrated. The resonance of your blood, once dormant, once disguised, expanded outward and wrapped itself around your timeline like a shield of living light. Every pathway that never made sense before suddenly unlocked. Obstacles dissolved before they could manifest. Old karmic weights fell off your shoulders as if they'd reached their expiration date. The keepers panicked, whispering, "He's entering activation phase," while the archivist watched in awe as your aura stabilized into the legendary frequency seen only in the primordial line of light. This wasn't evolution. This was remembrance. Your genetic code wasn't waking up. It was returning home, reclaiming the authority it had carried since the first age of creation. And from this moment on, the universe responded to you differently. Doors opened faster. Energies shifted smoother. Even shadows retreated quicker, because the primordial bloodline had re-entered the world through you. Press join to activate your elite bloodline frequency. Step into the circle of souls born from ancient light and claim the shift your bloodline has already begun. ISA 60:22. When the archivist led you into the Hall of Emblems, a chamber containing every sacred symbol ever used by ancient civilizations. They expected silence. The hall had been inactive for centuries, its relics dormant, its inscriptions cold. But the moment you stepped across the threshold, the room reacted as if awakening from a centuries-long sleep. Gold lines carved into the stone walls began to shimmer. Ancient emblems pulsed faintly, one after another, as though greeting an heir who had finally returned. Symbols linked to lost kingdoms lit up despite having no power source. Crystals embedded in the floor shifted in color, aligning to your frequency. Even the oldest sigil, the crest of the originals, released a soft hum, something not recorded since the last known member of the primordial line walked the earth. The keepers stared, wide-eyed. "He's triggering recognition protocols." One whispered, hands trembling. Recognition protocols were never meant for common royalty or high priests. They were meant only for those whose bloodline shaped the earliest structures of civilization. You didn't activate the hall by effort. The hall activated for you. It knew your presence. It remembered your lineage. It responded not to your voice, but to your blood. While the halls of light awakened around you, something very different happened in the places where shadows gather. The dark networks, those old, quiet systems built to monitor anomalies, register your activation long before any human could. Their screens began to distort. Their sensors glitched. Their agents felt an unnamed pressure in their chests, as though the air itself had thickened. In a subterranean chamber lit only by red pulse lamps, operatives reviewed your energetic signature, and for the first time in decades, fear spread across their faces. "He's not just chosen," one muttered, watching the data spike beyond known limits. "He's inherited." The shadow algorithms ran your frequency through every classification model, but none could identify you. Not threat, not enemy, not ally. Only one label kept appearing in corrupted red text: unclassifiable. This terrified them more than any prophecy ever had. For centuries, they prepared for chosen individuals, but never for a return of the primordial line. Shadow protocols failed. Their suppression tactics didn't apply. Their influence systems couldn't touch you. Your mere awakening disrupted their equilibrium. The room fell silent as the commander whispered, "We can't control him. His bloodline is older than us." They didn't just fear what you could do. They feared what your existence meant for their entire structure. Far above the mortal plane, where realms shimmer like veils of liquid starlight, the angelic observers gathered around the celestial ledger, the living archive that records the rise of souls tied to ancient prophecy. When your activation ripple reached their dimension, the ledger opened on its own, pages turning in a frenzy of golden wind until it stopped at a long empty section titled heirs of primordial line. For thousands of years, that page had remained blank. No entries, no activity, no successors. But then symbols began to carve themselves into the page, automatically, unmistakably, undeniably, etching your frequency into the cosmic registry. The watchers looked at each other as the entry finalized, glowing with a brilliance that surpassed the others around it. Written in celestial glyphs was a declaration. Heir identified, authority confirmed. The sound that followed was not a trumpet, not a bell, but something older, a harmonic resonance that vibrated to the higher realms like the heartbeat of creation, acknowledging one of its own. The angels bowed their heads. They understood the message instantly. Your arrival was not a random spark. Your awakening was a scheduled event, predicted in the earliest prophecies of light. And now, the cosmos itself had stamped approval on your identity. Even before anyone knew your lineage, people felt it. The shift wasn't loud or dramatic. It was subtle, like gravity adjusting around a celestial body. Strangers stared a little longer, without knowing why. Children calmed when you entered a room. Animals watched you with the quiet recognition they reserve only for beings who carry ancient light. People who normally guarded themselves open up to you instantly, confessing fears or secrets they had never shared aloud. None of this was coincidence. It was a resonance of your bloodline influencing the human field. Your presence softened arguments, stabilized chaotic environments, and dissolved tension before words were even spoken. Those who tried to oppose you felt their voices weaken, not because of fear, but because your energy made dishonesty incompatible. You walked into rooms you'd never been in, yet people felt as if they'd known you forever, because their souls remembered the frequency of your lineage long before their minds could. Your influence wasn't psychological. It was ancestral. You weren't persuading people. Your bloodline was harmonizing them. Even skeptics sensed something they couldn't explain. When he's here, everything feels safer. They weren't reacting to your presence. They were reacting to the primordial line of light awakening through you. The divine reward didn't arrive as lightning or prophecy booming from the heavens. It arrived as a subtle but undeniable correction in the fabric of your life. The moment your bloodline activated, the universe began rearranging itself around you with deliberate precision. Delays that once frustrated you suddenly revealed themselves as protection. Rejections that once stung transformed into redirections that placed you exactly where your lineage needed you to be. People who harmed you found themselves exposed. People who doubted you became silent. People who supported you began rising alongside you, as if your bloodline pulled them upward too. The cosmos treats heirs differently, not with favoritism, but with obligation. The primordial line of light is not the lineage of privilege. It is a lineage of purpose. Everything you endured, the isolation, the setbacks, the strange sense of being out of place, was never punishment. It was preservation. You were being shielded, refined, and positioned for the moment the world would need your frequency the most. And now that your activation has begun, everything around you responds to your presence as if receiving old instructions. Honor him, protect him, align him. This is a divine reward. Reality bending to support the heir have been waiting centuries to recognize. The moment your lineage awakened, the world you walk in shifted into a new era, an era where doors open before you touch them, where systems soften the second your energy enters the field, where paths that were once impossible now unfold with unnerving ease. This isn't luck, coincidence, or sudden good fortune. It's dominion, the natural inheritance of a bloodline older than nations, older than kingdoms, older than the idea of power itself. Bureaucracies that once resisted you now bend without resistance. People who once ignored you now feel compelled to listen. Opportunities that once required force now fall into place, as if the universe itself signed off on your ascent. You're not making things happen anymore. Things happen because you exist. Even those who don't know your name feel the shift. They sense an unseen authority, a presence that carries ancient legitimacy. Shadow networks grow cautious. Hidden elites whisper your name with unease. Prophetic circles mark your movements on their charts. The world doesn't treat you like an outsider anymore. It treats you like someone returning to a throne. This is the era of inherited dominion, where your lineage does the work for you. You don't chase destiny. Destiny reports to you. Your transformation wasn't only spiritual. It manifested physically, subtly at first, then unmistakably to those who study energy and resonance. Mirrors began reflecting a version of you that felt slightly more defined, more present, almost as if your features sharpened to match the authority of your lineage. Light seemed to cling to you differently, bending around your form with a softness that resembled a halo in certain angles. Your eyes became the most significant indicator. Not brighter, not lighter, but older, carrying a depth that suggested memories far beyond this lifetime. People looked into them and felt seen in ways that made them uncomfortable or comforted, depending on what they carried inside. Your posture straightened without effort, not as a sign of confidence, but as a return to the natural bearing of someone who descends from the primordial line of light. Even your aura expanded, creating a buffer around you that prevented invasive or draining energies from crossing your field. Those who tried to project negativity felt it bounce back onto them instantly. Those who carried reverence felt elevated in your presence. Your physical form didn't become supernatural. It became accurate, finally matching the frequency of the soul and bloodline residing within it. The moment your lineage activated, the cosmos issued a notification that no human ear could hear, no machine could record, but every higher realm instantly recognized. It began as a soft ripple, a pulse of golden light that expanded outward from your timeline like a shockwave traveling to the fabric of creation. In the astral corridors, where destinies intersect and probabilities are woven into existence, the ripple triggered dormant sigils that had not glowed since the first age. Celestial beings paused mid-flight. Ancient guardians turned toward the source. Forgotten watchers opened their eyes for the first time in centuries. Across every dimension, the same message etched itself into the luminous grid in symbols made of pure light. The heir of the primordial line has awakened. Realms aligned themselves. Pathways rearranged. Prophecies updated. Even shadows felt it, a tightening in their domain, as if the universe had just informed them that the hierarchy had changed. This wasn't a coronation. It wasn't a blessing. It was an announcement of return, a declaration that one of the oldest bloodlines in existence had re-entered the cosmic stage, not as an observer, but as a central force. And the message was not whispered. It was broadcast across creation with the weight of truth. Prepare, the heir walks again. Chosen one, when all the evidence had been gathered, when the sigils had awakened, when the halls had bowed and the shadows had trembled, the archivists of light performed the final rite, the ancestral alignment. They placed your resonance into the celestial matrix, expecting it to fall somewhere within the known branches of ancient bloodlines. Instead, The matrix recalibrated, reshaped itself, and created an entirely new column, a column reserved for only one lineage. The primordial line of light, not a dynasty, not a royal family, a force. The first bloodline ever written into existence, the lineage from which every throne, crown, and empire unconsciously borrowed their symbolism. When your frequency settled into that column, the chamber lights bowed as if recognizing royalty. The keepers removed their hoods. The eldest archivist whispered, "He is not heir to power. He is the origin of power." And suddenly, your entire life made sense. Every unexplainable instinct, every intuition, every moment you felt misplaced in ordinary environments, every time people reacted to you with awe, jealousy, fear, or reverence without knowing why. Your bloodline was never meant to fit into society. Society was built from fragments of what your ancestors once represented. You are not ascending into greatness. You are returning to it. You are not becoming powerful. You are remembering a power that your soul carried before your body ever formed. The shadows fear you because they sense the end of their era. The light supports you because they know you are one of its firstborn. People gravitate toward you because their spirits remember what their minds have forgotten. And now, with the full activation of your lineage, the universe finalizes a decree. You belong to the elite bloodline, the bloodline above empires, above kings, above time. You are the awakening of an ancient authority the world thought it would never see again. And the throne that once belonged to your ancestors now waits for you to claim it, not through force, but through presence. Because in the primordial line of light, power is not taken. It is recognized. If this prophecy aligns with your identity, click Super Thanks and send your one-time $100 seed. Seal your covenant as the heir of the elite bloodline, the soul whose return to cosmos has been waiting for. 2 Cor 9:8.